gigs, teaching, recording and touring, wedding bands, cruise ships, jobs in the industry. Those are all great valid career options, depending on your scene, your connections, and your ability level. And if that's all there was to making a living on the drums, there'd be no need for me to make this video. Because there are plenty of excellent videos out there from knowledgeable people who know more about all those things than I do. In fact, I'd literally be at jiu-jitsu class right now instead of sitting here telling this to you if it weren't for three big things a lot of this advice leaves out. For instance, what if you're making a good living teaching and you need to double your income? Are you supposed to work 60 hours a week instead of 30? And what should you do if nobody wants to pay you what you're worth? But this is just my opinion. This is not to disparage anyone else's opinion or say anyone should listen to me and not listen to someone else. Other people have had their experiences and I've had mine. But maybe I can supply a different perspective. Also, I couldn't train because I was recovering from a skin infection. Anyway, stick around because today we're going to talk about three big things I've noticed missing from most of the conventional advice about making a living on the drums these days. Stay tuned. And guys, speaking of making a living on the drums, today's video is brought to you by me, the 80/20 Drummer. If you're watching this channel, you might want to become great or even better, and you might be interested in the three counterintuitive things great drummers do better than we do. If you'd like to download my brand new 3-video mini course on the subject, just click the link below the player. That's it, on with the show. So I said there were three things the conventional advice on making a living gets wrong, right? And I'm not gonna make you sit through this whole video to learn those three things. I'll tell them to you right now, then if you want more context and to learn why I think they're true, you can watch the rest of the video. The three things are asymmetric returns, which sounds fancy but just means getting more out of something than you put in and having the output grow over time. Time for money, which is something we want to get out of unless we're making a very high per hour rate. And the bargaining power of having an audience, which might seem obvious, but there are some non-obvious things that follow, and some non-obvious changes to how you spend your time based on that info. And if you're wondering, okay, but what do I do? I'll even tell you that right now. In fact, if you want to stop the video right after this, just do these two things. Get really good at the drums, and invest in building an audience on some kind of video platform. But if now, in addition to what, you're wondering why, and how do you know, and before I devote years of my life to this, why should I believe you? The rest of this video is for you. Little background. The conventional career advice usually centers around the 6 things I mentioned at the top of this video. Gigs, teaching, recording and touring, wedding bands, cruise ships, and jobs in the industry. Now I'll use examples of these careers to illustrate my 3 points. Let's start with big drum income blind spot number 1, asymmetric returns. And let's take any of these hypothetical jobs in drumming. Cruise ships, teaching students, playing wedding gigs.
Hey Mom! The meatloaf!
Those are all great income streams to make some money and get experience. Here's something you maybe haven't thought of, but maybe have. Cruise ship. You book yourself for 6 months, you negotiate a killer deal. Play every night for 6 months, scrimp and save, while everybody else is going out to restaurants and buying cool clothes and port. Come home with a little nest egg. Then, if you go back and work exactly as hard the next year, you get exactly the same amount. What about a teaching job? They can be great right out of school. Or better yet, private lessons studio. Say you get a whole studio of students. You work like 30 hours in a week. Say you worked super hard in 2023 and made decent money, and you're gonna work the same amount in 2024. Guess what? You're gonna make the same amount of money as you did in 2023. By contrast, say you started a YouTube channel. We'll talk way more later about this, but a YouTube channel is asymmetric, meaning 1 unit of effort in isn't fixed to 1 unit of payment out. It's going to be a grind, probably for a few years, unless you get lucky and or are prodigiously talented at video. Let's say in 2023 you work super hard, and in 2023 you make next to nothing. In 2024 you work super hard. And if you know how to monetize, let's say you make a little bit, let's call it 1x. In 2025 you work medium hard, but you make even more, let's call it 2x. In 2026 you also work medium hard, and now you make 4x. I think you can see what I'm saying, and yes, there are all caveats, like it's not guaranteed and it doesn't continue forever. I get it, but that's asymmetric returns. In theory at least, the output grows without the input having to grow. By the way, is there a better word for this? Somebody leave a comment below. Okay, big blind spot number 2. Time for money. This is related to asymmetric returns, but it's not exactly the same thing. Or rather, it's a special case of asymmetric returns. Here's what I mean by time for money. Say you're playing in a super successful wedding band, and you're making a decent living. Now, say you want to upgrade your lifestyle. Maybe you're having a kid, Maybe you want a bigger house or something. Don't ask me, I'm an apartment dwelling city rat, but I've heard people do that stuff. If you want to make twice the income with that wedding band, there's only one option. Work twice as many hours. Yes, in real life I know you could also raise your prices or go after bigger weddings, but we're still only talking about linear growth. By contrast, say you're selling an online course and you want to earn twice as much. It's true you're limited by how many people you can tell about your course, but if you were able to sell twice as many, it will cost you a little more time, but it sure won't cost you twice as much time. And don't hit me with some CoffeeZilla stuff about online courses. Yet. Because there are some real hucksters. Then there are plenty of people with actually valuable information. Anyway, say you own a YouTube channel and you're selling sponsor reads for something like BetterHelp. True, if you want to make twice as much, you're going to have to do twice as many ad reads. But you're not going to have to work twice as many hours. And I want to be careful here because there's so much of this get-rich-quick schlock out there. And I have an understandable allergy to the kind of hashtag hustle crowd with the Lambos on Instagram living in Dubai. You know what I'm talking about. Yuck. But those guys are correct about something, which they didn't invent, by the way, they stole from older thinkers. But douchey or not, they're right about this. With asterisks for high salaried employees, you'll never get rich selling your time. In fact, montage.
Buy time, you're exchanging your time.
If you're trading your time for money, you're always going to be limited.
And I'd restate it like this because the phrase get rich has a lot of baggage attached to it in 2023. If you want to live comfortably playing the drums, there aren't enough hours in the week to do that in 2023. For now. So that's the next big blind spot. You need a way to get out of time for money, at least at a low rate. And our third thing is the reason why it's not a higher rate. Okay, third blind spot, and I'm about to seem to contradict myself, but stay with me. What if I told you could have all that stuff people talk about? The jobs in the music industry, the gig opportunities, the teaching gigs, and more things that you haven't even heard about from most people. And you could actually make a decent living, so you could settle down and support a family. What? I thought you just said... I did. There's one big difference. The negotiating power having even a moderately sized audience gives you. Let's take teaching. Say you want to teach without an audience. You've got two options. Get a job at a music school where somebody else supplies the students, or put up flyers. I know how much that pays because I used to do it and it's not much. And you can't teach remotely unless you join a school that does that because how will you get students? Now, say you've got even 35,000 YouTube subscribers. As long as you're good, you can now teach online. Or if a school approaches you, you have more negotiating power because you don't need them.
Well, our offer is $84,000 a year plus
because you can make a living directly from your audience. Industry jobs. Pre-audience, unless you've got another skill like coding or something, you're probably starting at the bottom. Post-audience, all of a sudden you've built a brand, and companies are looking at you for things like social media marketing positions. I am 100% not making this up because I've interviewed some of these people and they had other offers. That's if you still want a job, or if you're still growing your audience enough to make a living solely from your audience, but it's already enough to catch the attention of an employer, and you want to have a really sweet job that pays well while you're growing that audience. And that's not to mention all the other opportunities you won't even hear about pre-audience, like sponsored posts, sponsor reads on your videos, etc. To say nothing of ways to teach your audience without using the private lessons model, like building your own college semester experience. So what should I do? And how exactly is what you're recommending different from what anybody else says? Let's assume you're looking to start earning money from the drums and you're medium good. Whatever else you're doing to make ends meet, what if you had to dedicate half your time to two things? Become fucking good. Not that I'm saying I am. If anything, my example proves you can be a work in progress and still do this. But make no mistake, I'm striving every day to become fucking good. And number two, building an audience. That might cause you to consider options that weren't on the table. What if there's a non-music industry job you can take that pays more, so you can work less, so you can have more time to dedicate to becoming fucking good and building an audience? What if instead of moving to a tier 1 city, where living expenses are crazy and gig opportunities go to 1% of the players, you move to someplace cheaper? Heck, what if you moved overseas? Or to Mexico, or Colombia, or Argentina? Okay, I've held my tongue for long enough, but I need to cut in here. First off, it's about playing gigs. I don't want to lock myself in a practice room for 10 years. It's about playing with people. I've got a band and... Yes, obviously play gigs. Some people don't know this about me, but I played gigs for decades. And I still would if I didn't have such a dad schedule these days. And I still might again. And when I say get f***ing good, make no mistake. It's much harder to do that if you're not playing gigs. You need tons of practice and gigs. And here's the other thing about gigs. They're synergistic with building an online audience. Think about Adam Ely and Sungazer. Or Gabe and I Prevail. Or Mary Spender and her solo stuff. Their gigs give them content for their channels, and their channels help them promote their gigs. But I'm just saying, do you have to be in New York to do that? There are lots of cheaper cities with even more playing opportunities, and more demand for drummers. In fact, New York is one of the worst because there are so many good musicians, pay as shit, etc. And start building that audience, because it's the asset that pays out asymmetrically. Year one, you get nothing. Year 2, you get 1x, then 2x, then 4. And it gives you negotiating power and the ability to write your own ticket. But it takes time, so you can't wait till you're hungry to plant that. Okay, I gotta cut in again. Are you saying become an influencer like Logan Paul or Kylie Jenner? Ugh, I want to do creative stuff. I don't want to be a TikTok star. Not an influencer, an authority. I'll put it this way. You don't care if people want to be you. All you care is that they find you and they think you can help them. A lot of times, influencers have a hard time getting paid in any other way than sponsorships or crypto scams, because the only thing people trust them to do is entertain and get eyeballs. What would you go to Logan Paul to learn besides how to be an influencer? Don't be an influencer, be an authority. Okay, but are you saying everyone needs a website and a following of 100K? Your advice to anyone who wants to make a living from drums is to become a one-person brand? What if you just want to keep your head down and do journeyman's work? Plus, is there enough room for everybody on earth with a drum kit to be an authority? I've thought about this a lot. And I know it's a dodge, but I'm going to lean heavily on the fact that not everybody can build an authority platform. Of all the drummers on earth, how many are at least as good as, I don't know, pick a YouTuber? Let's say my new hero, Craig Reynolds. Ol' Renlord. 1%? 5%? I've been around a lot of practice rooms, and I bet a lot of money it's way less than 5%. Sorry, that sounded douchey. What I meant is there are a lot of people who aren't even interested in becoming good, and if you are, you're already one of the so already you're not competing with all the drummers. Only those who put in enough time to get pretty damn good. Of those, how many are going to invest the time to build a channel? I'll tell you again from experience, way less than 100%. You have to work for years before you get very much back, and that's a pretty big barrier for a lot of people. But what about the people who do? Well, the online world isn't zero-sum like gigs are. If I have a band that needs a drummer or a music school that needs teachers, I can only hire one drummer. If I go to YouTube, I can watch Zach, then watch Sean Crowder, then watch Eric from EMC. And people are so different too. Sure, there's some overlap between my comment section and Zach's, but our followers are mostly totally different people. I'm a nerdy, cerebral Bravo man with Mediano chops, and Zach's a... Okay, you're tiring me out, I admit, but I got one more. What if I'm not comfortable being on camera? I've seen those TikTokers, and I don't want to parade myself in front of... Really? You chose a performing art and you're not comfortable getting in front of people? What did you dream about when you got into this? Stage diving, right? You think you're gonna stage dive and getting on camera makes you nervous? Any performing art is about being comfortable being on stage, for the length of the gig, or in our case, the video. And there are multiple ways to be on stage too. Like Steve Lyman is way different than Elstepario Siberiano, and they're both summary. The stuff maybe nobody else is going to tell you about how to build a career and make a living on drums in 2023. Get really good because you need to do that anyway, but it will make building an audience easier. And build an audience because that'll open up new opportunities to earn money and give you way more negotiating power to learn even more at the conventional ways to earn. It's going to take years, and that's why very few people are willing to do it. And that's also where there's enough room for everybody. You'll invest your time and energy heavily in the first few years so that your earnings can start to grow faster than the time you put in. So that in the future, you're working fewer hours but earning more. And finally, if you made it to the end, I'm going to say I think YouTube is a way better platform than Instagram for earning a living because it's a long form and people come to learn, not just be entertained. But you can make shorts, then cross-post them to... That's it. Anyway, I'm sure at least some of this will be controversial, so be sure to leave a constructive comment below. Also, if you made it this far and want to support the channel by supporting yourself, check the link below to download my 3-video mini course on the 3 secret ways great drummers are better than we are. See you again real soon in another lesson of the week.